Hello everyone, my name is Emily, and recently my life has started to resemble a TV series. Let me start from the very beginning. All 16 years of my life, I have felt pretty different from both of my parents. I was never really like anyone in the family. Not in the way I looked or even in the way I acted. For example, both of my parents were really good at sports. Mom used to be a cheerleader in college, so she is very muscular and skinny, while Dad has always been good at any ball game, especially basketball and tennis. But I can hardly be called an athlete of any kind. I'm not even good at running, so I usually end up trying to skip my PE classes all the time. At first, my parents were worried about this and even took me to the doctor. But he said that I was completely healthy and normal. I just wasn't created to become an athlete. As for me, I hate everything connected to physical activity. I would rather read books or draw something, and I'm really good at natural sciences. This is actually what calms me down and helps me relax. It's nothing, you'd probably say, but I always felt pretty uncomfortable when the whole family gathered together and played. Let's say, football. I'd just sit somewhere under the trees and sketch another family portrait. This makes me feel different from everybody, and I don't look like anyone in the family either. They are all brunettes with blue eyes and dark skin. When Mom gets tan, she looks like a real goddess, and I'm a chubby blonde with gray eyes. An extra sun makes my pasty white skin as red as a tomato. I do love my family, and I'm sure that they love me back, but there are some times when I feel like I am in the wrong place. Although I'm pretty sure that many of you have felt the same way at least a few times in your life. My time to find out what was wrong with me came with a piece of mail. That day, I was home alone when the mailman came and brought a letter from the local hospital addressed to my mom. I never meant to read anyone else's correspondence, but this very letter made me feel nervous. I thought, what if Mom might have a serious illness and just doesn't want me to find out about it? That's why I decided to carefully open up the envelope, so that no one would notice I'd actually done it. The information inside sent me into shock. The letter said that 16 years ago, on the night I was born, the fire alarm went off suddenly, and that incident made the nurse on duty panic and switch 2 babies, me and another girl. At first, she was scared to confess this because she thought she might lose her job. But now this woman is terminally ill and is about to pass away soon, so she decided to confess her mistake. Reading all that just made me physically ill. It turned out that my parents were actually not my parents, and this fact explained why I had always been the black sheep in the family. I just sat down reading and rereading the letter over and over again, and didn't even notice that my parents had returned home. When I saw them, I couldn't do anything but just burst into tears and run to my room. I didn't know how to react or what to say, and was just lying on my bed when my parents knocked at my door. They looked totally down in spirits and worried about me. Dad kept silent just like me, while Mom tried to find the right words to say. She said that this horrible mistake won't change anything in our relationships, that I always was and forever will be their beloved daughter, and that I would be the only one to decide whether I want to meet the other family or not. I felt frightened and depressed about that letter, but when my parents hugged me, I realized that I loved them more than anything in the world. That night was torturous for everyone. I couldn't sleep at all. A few times I heard my mom crying in the bathroom, and I noticed that Dad went outside to smoke, while he had been a non-smoker for as long as I could remember. The other day, I made my decision. I wanted to contact my biological parents. Their address was also included in the letter, and Dad called them. It turned out that they had also received the same letter and were about to contact us. We decided to meet at a cafe. You know, I immediately recognized the other me at first glance. She looked just like my mom. The same hair and eyes, same mannerisms, and even the way she waved at me. Everything resembled her, and I turned out to be more like my biological father, especially the way I looked. Only my total inability to be athletic turned out to be inherited from my mother. The meeting went really well. I mean, of course, it was an awkward occasion and no one knew exactly what to say, but everyone seemed to be pretty friendly towards each other. We spent about an hour together at that cafe. On our way back home, we were all completely silent. Later that night, I decided to talk to my parents. The only thing I was interested in was whether now they were going to switch me out with their real daughter and give me back to my biological parents. It turned out that they were afraid that I myself would want to leave them to go to live with another family. Of course, none of us wanted to change our lives. Now our family, or rather both of our families, has undergone a scary, although very interesting period in our lives. We now need to figure out how we are going to live, what we will say to the rest of the family, and how we will communicate with one another. Of course, I love my parents, and I'm not going to trade them for anyone. But I always wanted to have a sister, and now I seem to have one. Soon we are going to meet each other again. Who knows? Maybe the new meeting will help us merge our two families into a bigger and happier one. Now you see how my life resembles the TV series. Let's just hope for a happy ending. Now you guys tell me, would you like to meet your biological parents if you were in my place in this situation? I'm looking forward to your responses in the comments to this video. And in order not to miss some even more interesting stories, feel free to subscribe to the channel.